Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John, where we help you with your professional and personal growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. Hey, Heather, how is it going?
It's going good, John. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, listen, I'm full of energy. I've been up since five something, and it's been great. It's
I
been good.
love
Actually, it's
it.
been really good. Really, really good. You know what? There's something to be said about number one, getting up early, and then two, cleaning up stuff you've been needing to clean up for a while. So that was like part of my morning. And listen, I'm finally sitting at a desk that's well organized and cleaned, and I'm like, ooh, feeling good, feeling
I
good.
love
Good thing the
it.
camera doesn't capture it all.
I love it because I think that's part of the reflection process that we've been talking about and activating for all of our listeners is, when you reflect on what's going to make me the best version of myself, your environment is one of those things. And actually, me and my husband had that conversation yesterday, and I asked him to clean up some of his stuff too that was getting in the way. So, it's the environment for everyone that you live with and everyone around you. And it's also the environment of who you are hanging out with. And John, yesterday I got to hang out with you for almost the whole day. And you invited me to a pretty cool thing. You invited me to be a guest speaker in your leadership course, which was fantastic. So first, I want to say thank you for making such a huge impact on the youth and the students at college. But thank you also for trusting me to inspire them and give them some stories of my career transition. So thank you for that, because we're out to impact as many people as possible. So it was really great to do that, John, and thank you so much. And good morning,
Yeah,
boys. I see that you're on there.
yeah, it's the well, thank you. Thank you for attending. But what was interesting is they didn't want you to go. Actually, they at the end of it, when you because you had to go and you had to do another class, it was they're like, already, are we done? Like, there's more that more questions. And what was interesting is one of the students was like, well, I had a series of questions, but I didn't want to hog up the room. I'm like, just go for it, right? Because a lot of times when you have a question that you want to ask, there's a good chance that everybody else or a good majority of the room has the same question, and they would love to have that answered. So it was great energy, great conversation afterwards as well, in terms of just doing a recap. And it was just good. It was good. It was good energy. And they got this, they're like, can we do more of those? Can you have more guest speakers? And I'm like, well, we do have to cover the material, right? So,
Yeah.
we could definitely do that. But yeah, no, just it always helps to get a different perspective, right? Like the one thing I love to, both of us, we love to do is get to a different perspective of a particular topic or a particular industry or a particular type of career. And that allows you to see it from different angles, right? It also helps to shape your perception of it as well. So it becomes your new truth, which is really neat. Yeah, it's just fantastic.
Well,
So Heather,
they asked some really good questions. Sorry, John, I cut you off.
yeah,
Go
I was
ahead.
I was gonna say, from your experience, what was it like? What was it like to be there sharing your experience with everybody?
Well, I love telling my career story and sort of how I went to school for biochemistry and then went on a quick European trip and then went back came back and had student loans to pay. And just, that moment in time when I didn't know what I would be when I grow up, but I knew that I was there to learn. I knew I knew that learning was really important. And then I became a lifelong learner. The straight line is only when you look backwards on it, but I can sort of take the students on a zigzag and transport myself into how I felt when I was their age and how I was confused and unsure and wondering, where am I going to get all this experience that all these job postings are asking for, and how am I ever going to find a job without that experience? And funny enough, that was one of the questions that one of your students asked. And it was great to address that, but it was also great, John, to highlight that, you've written a whole book on this. This is your business platform. So to hear them ask that question, and for me able to deflect it to you, because oftentimes we don't even know the people right in front of us have some of the answers. And if we just get curious and ask the questions, we can actually find out even more. So it was really awesome to also introduce you as an author, because I don't think they knew that part about you.
Yeah, thank you for that. A lot of times I don't even know a lot about me. So when I'm walking in the room, there's, you're only you're speaking to the audience, or you're speaking to the class, or whoever you're speaking to based on what's happening in the moment. And you're right,
That's
you know, there's a lot of things that I forget, right? But I'm sure there was things that I kind of elicited in you to bring out, because there's things we all forget, right? This is part of
Mm,
last week we talked about putting your brag book together, right? Because your brag book is capturing all those special moments throughout your career, throughout your life, you know, things that are going on with your family. You know, Diane and I, you know, the last time we took a trip together, we had a journal that we both journaled in every day as part of our trip, and then
ooh,
just
I love
things
that
that we
idea.
experienced. Yeah, it was a different, you know, it was interesting because she would read my part, I would read her part, and it was a great way just to capture the moment, right? Because we're living in memories. It's always about being present, and yes, you know, take photos 100%. But when you journal it down, it gives it a different meaning. I don't know. It feels like it lasts longer. I don't know. It's crazy, but this is the power of the brag book, right? The power of the brag book gives you an opportunity. You know, and you know, before we started our show today, you were talking about an experience that you went to last night, and I'll give you an opportunity to share that. But when you
Hmm.
capture it, you can step back, right? In NLP, they call it anchoring, right? And anchoring is just tying yourself either to a particular emotion at a particular time. So, you know, when you think about certain songs, they elicit certain feelings inside of you because your feelings are anchored to those songs. It's the same with the brag book. When you put it down, you start to feel that nostalgia, you start to feel good. You start to feel that joy. You start to feel that happiness. And now it's anchored. And every time
Yes.
you go back and you read it, it's like, wow, you know what? I did that. I don't know how many times you've experienced that, Heather, but every time, you know, there's
Oh,
certain things that I look back at and I'm like, wow, I really did that. Right. And
yes.
it's a crazy
Yes.
thing, right?
And that's the power of journaling. You know, like you said, you can take pictures to remember memories, but that's activating your visual activation, not your emotional
Mhm.
activation. You can get some emotion looking at pictures, but when you journal, you're normally journaling about your emotions, how you're feeling. In fact, if you don't journal about what you're feeling, then that might be a new way to journal and just, you know, be really raw and honest about how you're feeling. And I've gone back to some of my journal entries, you know, at sort of those pivotal growth moments where, you know, you're really confused or you don't know what to do next. And I've read what I wrote and how I was feeling. And I was like, wow, I remember that I was
Mhm.
really sad or really lonely or whatever the feelings were. And then I read my journal and I was standing in my power and feeling sad and lonely at the same time. So it wasn't just this, you know, this doomsday kind of feeling. So I've actually learned something about myself in those moments, because it's those moments where, you know, you journal about the hardest things in life, and that's where the magic happens, because that's when you're growing. And you know, you talked about an event that I went to last night. So I went to see a play at the Mervis Theatre in Toronto. It's called Jagged Little Pill. It's a play based on all of the songs of Alanis Morissette. And Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill album came out in 1995, 1996. So that, of course, transported me right to my early, well, I guess late teens. And, you know, it's a very emotion driven, it was a CD at the time. So, you know, I call it a CD, but it was an
Mhm.
album. And, you know, this play was fantastic. It was I highly, highly recommend it. But it was so wonderful to just get transported by the sounds, by the music, by the memories of my youth, and seeing youth on stage going through something similar. And it actually, you know, reminded me that, you know, the storytelling is the easy way to have our lessons land on everyone around us. And John, we love storytelling. So joining your class yesterday, I got to tell some stories. Watching the play yesterday, I got transported into a portal of my youth. But all of it is to remind me that, you know, there were moments in time when I was unsure. There was moments of time where I didn't know what to do next. And then I took action, and here I am. And I'm going to take even more action right till the very last day of my life. And it's going to lead me to some beautiful, beautiful moments. So,
Yeah.
yes, you know, this anchoring process of NLP is something that everyone does. But when you know how to do it really beautifully, you can activate emotion, you can activate action, you can activate all kinds of things in yourself and others.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, and the one thing that was showing up as you were saying all of that was you were just present and in the moment, right? Whether you were
Mm.
in the classroom, whether you were at the show, you were just present, right? And how many
Mhm.
of us don't spend enough time just being present in terms of where we are, right? They say
Yes.
fear, anxiety, and stress comes from either thinking about the future, thinking about the past, but in the moment right now. And actually, I'm gonna invite those that are listening right now. How do you feel in this moment? Drop it in the chat. How do you feel?
Mm.
When you're in the present, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong because you're right here, right now, in this moment. I know I feel calm. I feel relaxed. I feel a sense of peace,
Mhm.
right?
I
Because I'm not going anywhere else. My head's not going anywhere else. It's just right here, right now,
And
right?
being in the present moment is such a gift for yourself and for others. And here's the fun part. We do this as a live show so that we are always in the present moment for our audience. We could record this and pre-record it and then edit the hell out of it. And we could do all of that. And maybe one day when we have sponsors, they'll want us to do that. But the present moment of talking to one another and to our audience allows us to let things that are in the back of our brain come to the surface and be present with us.
Mhm.
There are a lot of times, and for all of our audience members, that we are sitting just 2 minutes before we go live and we're like, do we have a topic to talk about? And then we let our heart actually speak and it comes out. The same thing happened this morning, but we are present here and there's
Yeah.
no do-overs on a live show. So, think about how often are you present at work with your
Mhm.
family, or are you worried about how you're looking, how you're sounding? Are
Mhm.
you worried about how people are going to think of you? And it's stopping you from, just like that student in your class that didn't ask the question that they wanted to ask because they didn't want to use up too much time. And, oftentimes our automatic negative thoughts, those ants in our heads, come in and they take over and they stop us from feeling things like Susan's feeling. They
Yeah.
stop us from feeling confident. And it's only because we're just not grounded. So I love, Susan, that you are feeling like that today, this morning. I feel exactly the same way as you. I feel very grounded, very confident, and excited to start my day. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm with you 100%. And, I love that feeling. Yeah, right now I feel incredibly confident. Right now I feel grounded. Actually, my feet are on the ground. So that's good. Good sign. But yeah, no, it doesn't take much, right? We,
Mm.
we, we think about putting all these, I got to do this. There's always things to do. And actually, taking that, I talked about this at the start of the podcast, this morning, just kind of clearing my space and clearing it to the point where I could feel grounded, where I could feel at ease, right? Because when you get into that space where it's like it just overwhelms you, and you got that anxiety and stress, it just hits you, and I'm like, why am I tolerating that, right? So
Mm.
how many times
Ooh,
do we just tolerate things? I know.
I
So
love that. Why am I tolerating that? That is a fantastic question. And you're tolerating what you created. So
correct.
sometimes we've created our own chaos for whatever reason, because we think we're not good enough, because we think, that's the way to go. Oh, that's not important. But, creating an environment that gets you into peak state is so important.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't take much to just get back on track, right? So I don't know who else has experienced this, but winter and transition of seasons, I love it, right? Because it gives you an opportunity to do a bit of a cleanup and a clear out, and so that's what I've been doing in my garage recently, right? Because we're doing tire swaps, we got to put things away, we got to organize things, and it's a great way to just clear out some of that clutter. So that's
Mm.
physically, but mentally, just clearing out, and letting go of the things that maybe I didn't get done this year, right? This is
Mm.
that opportunity to take the moment to just reflect on, okay, well, did I really want to do that? And if it's not something you want to do, then just let go, right? So there's an opportunity. I know now, we've talked about this on other episodes as well. It's a time for reflection, right? As you get into let's reflect on what's gone well. What are some of the challenges? What are the things that we can do differently going into 2024? What do we want to carry forward? And what do we want to let go of? Because
Mm.
this will give us the guide that we need in order to create those those big audacious goals for 2024, so we can live to our fullest. And if you told me at the beginning of the year that we would be where we are right now, I wouldn't have believed you. I just wouldn't have
No.
believed you, right? There's no way. Like I look at where we are today and what I get to do and the work and the people that I serve. I didn't know how I was going to get here, right? But I did know that this is what I wanted to do, right? I left a long tenured career to jump into a brand new field of work.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, I didn't have all the house, but I knew who I needed to be in the process to get there.
Well, and isn't that a
And yeah,
beautiful thing, John, is that
oh, yeah.
if you would have been so prescriptive with the how, you would have only achieved that how that you could visualize, but the person visualizing it didn't have a big enough vision. So because you just took action and knew who you wanted to become, all of these other opportunities had tons of space to flourish and come to be. And so that's, so important that people let go of the how, let go of, I have to wait till everything is perfect or ready. Listen, if you are waiting till you're ready for anything, a new career, a new relationship, a new anything that you're going to try for the first time, you're waiting too long. You're waiting
Yeah,
too long. Just take action and take action every single day, a little tiny baby step. And you'll hear me and John say this over and over again because it is the consistency that gets you to the beautiful end result and opens up these possibilities that you can't even imagine are right there in the universe, ready to go. But you have to become the version of you that's ready for those opportunities.
yeah. No, 100%, 100%. It's one of the universal laws, right? So actually, we'll take a whole other episode and we'll talk about the 12 universal laws, which made for really interesting dinner time conversation with the family. But yeah, no, listen, when you step into action, things that you didn't see before end up showing up for you because
Mm-hmm.
they've always been there, right? And this
Yes.
is, I was talking about this with one of my classes. The A exists. The A is there today. Like the A is yours, but are you taking the steps and the actions to maintain it? Like my assumption and my feeling is everybody's got an A,
Mm.
and your only job is to hold on to your A. Right? Nobody starts with an F. Everybody starts with an A. You just got to hold on to it, right? And what actions are you taking? And what was really interesting is we went through and we had a discussion around this. I'm like, okay, so a person with an A, what do they look like? What do they do? What kind of actions do they take daily? And they could like list them off, and they're like this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this. And I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. I'm like, okay, great. So why aren't you all getting A's, right? That was just a question, right? And they're like, well, there's time. I go, but time isn't on your list,
Mm.
right? So it was a bit of an awakening to say, well, okay, well, if it's not time, there's other things that I need to put into place to get there. So
I love that you
yeah,
brought your
it's just
students through
fun.
that mindset because what you're activating for them, John, is a new belief system. And, whether it be around your grades or about a goal or, people that are on the weight loss journey and having struggles around that,
Mm,
usually we all know how to do something, but we're missing a part of the formula. We're missing action or we're missing belief in ourselves or we're
mhm,
missing both, of course. And so if we're missing belief, then we might not be taking all the actions we need to. And so that formula of, do you believe that you deserve it? Do you believe it's possible? Are you taking the action that you need to do? This is the formula for success, and I'm missing a piece of
mhm.
it. What am I missing, John? I'm missing
Yeah,
action,
no,
visualization, and
you got it. Belief and action, right? So do
yeah,
you believe you can do it? And are you taking the action to do it? Are you
exactly.
capable? And I think the piece that's not being covered is, do you want to? How
Mm,
badly do you want this? Right?
yes.
And when I do my coaching sessions, I always ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you want this? Anything less than an 8 is not going to get you into action,
That's right.
right?
Even an
So
eight's a little dicey.
yeah, 8 is borderline. Ideally, you want to be at a 10, right? Or
Yeah,
some, 11. I'm an 11. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. I'm an 11. Let's go. Okay, great. So you're going to do everything it's going to take in order for you to get there. Yes. Okay. And then, sometimes things happen, right? Life happens, but you know what direction you're going in,
yeah.
right? And I think about that just real quick. I think about that at the beginning of the year. As I put my Iron Man T-shirt up on my wall, so it's always like in the corner now. I'm like, wow, I did that. I thought about, I got sick for 3 weeks and it totally knocked me out, right? No exercise, no workouts, no nothing. A sinus infection. I couldn't breathe. It was just really bad. But I'm like, okay, as soon as I get better, I'm back on track, right? Because, my desire to do this, I committed to it. I was public about it. It was at a 10. And some days it was even at 11. And even when I didn't want to get up early on those cold nights, I'm like, I'm going to do it because I'm at a 10. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what we're going to be building into our goal setting workshop that's coming up in just a few weeks. And we're going to do this for all of you. We're going to walk you through that process to build that goal so you can get to it in 90 days. I'm
Wow.
super excited that we're going to get to share
Imagine
this with
doing
the
your
world.
goals for the whole year in 90 days. Like, what's the rest of the year going to look like? So join us, because we've actually seen people hit goals that they thought would take a year in 30 days with this process. And it really is getting super clear on what you want to do, what you believe, and the actions that you need to take, and then just go do it. And we just don't let you fall off when belief gets in the way. And that's the magical moments along the way, is that you're not alone, and we're there with you every step of the way to help coach you through your 90 days, which will be your entire year done. So again, we have a workshop coming up. We'll have the post up very, very shortly, but put it on your calendars. It's December 14th. I think it's 1 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll get that information out to everyone. So here's the call to action for everyone. Today, how can you be present in the moment? What's the moment that you're going to be 100% present with someone else? It might be a family member, it might be at work, it may be just with yourself. And you can be present by just taking 5 deep breaths. And it's just, 30 seconds of being present. But when are you going to be present, and who are you going to be present for? And that's the gift that I want you to give others and yourself today, because when you are present, that's when confidence, when you feel grounded, when all of those emotions of being able to take action in are going to come to the surface. So enjoy being present. It's a gift for yourself and others. Don?
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you, Heather. Yes, I can't believe we're already over. But yes, thank you for listening to this episode. Keep an eye out for our upcoming workshop on December the 14th. And remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one. Have an awesome day.